Hey everyone, for today's video we are going to be breaking down the cardiac cycle into a way that makes sense to both professionals and our patients. So to start off, the cardiac cycle is basically all the steps the heart goes through in a single heartbeat. That includes both contraction and relaxation of the heart muscle, what we would call systole and diastole, which we will come back to later in the video. These phases keep blood moving in one direction to make sure that oxygen and nutrients make their way to the rest of the body. Now let's go through how blood actually flows through the heart, starting with deoxygenated blood that is returning from the body to the heart. Now deoxygenated blood is just blood that has done its job of delivering the nutrients and the oxygen to the cells for use, and now it is returning to the heart for removal of waste products and to get more oxygen. Now, blood that doesn't have oxygen comes back from the body and returns to the top right part of the heart, known as the right atrium. And it does this via the superior and inferior vena cava, which you can think of as are literally large veins that are very important, located near the heart. From there, it goes through the tricuspid valve, which is a valve that can open or close to allow blood through or to stop it from growing through. Through this valve, it enters the right ventricle, which is the lower right part of the heart. When the right ventricle then contracts, it is going to pump that blood through the pulmonary valve into the pulmonary arteries, which will carry the blood to the lungs. In the lungs, the blood drops off carbon dioxide and picks up oxygen. The oxygenated blood then returns to the upper left part of the heart, known as the left atrium, and does this via the pulmonary veins. From there, it flows through the mitral or bicuspid valve, the names are interchangeable, into the left ventricle, the lower left part of the heart. When the left ventricle then contracts, it pumps blood through the aortic valve into the aorta, which is the main artery that sends blood through the body. Now I want to pause here for a moment to talk about the pulmonary veins and the pulmonary arteries. So I asked my girlfriend, who's not taken anatomy and physiology, about this, and she answered it perfectly correct the first time. And I was surprised because I get the feeling that us exercise science students earlier on will overcomplicate this. But to answer why does the pulmonary arteries have deoxygenated blood in it, and why do the pulmonary veins have oxygenated blood in it? It's because the arteries and veins are not named for whether they are oxygenated or deoxygenated blood, but they are rather named for the direction of their flow. So to keep things nice and simple, arteries flow away from the heart while veins flow towards it. Now, the process that we just went over is constantly repeating, and we can split it into two main circuits known as the pulmonary circuit and the systemic circuit. Now, the pulmonary circuit is what handles the trip between the heart and the lungs through the process we just discussed involving the right atrium and the right ventricle. And the systemic circulation is what is going from the heart to the rest of the body. And this is, again, through the process that we just discussed involving the left atrium and the left ventricle. Now, pop quiz, which ventricle is stronger? We should be able to conclude that the left ventricle is stronger because it has to pump blood through the rest of the body, while the right ventricle has to pump a shorter distance to the lungs. Now let's get back to systole and diastole, because they are also key parts of the cardiac cycle as well. Systole is whenever the heart contracts to push blood out, first from the atria to the ventricles, and then from the ventricles, and then from the ventricles to the lungs and the rest of the body. Now, diastole is when the heart muscle relaxes so the chambers can refill with blood. Even though this is the rest phase, it is just important because this is when the heart resets and gets ready for the next beat. You can actually feel this cycle when you check your pulse. The rhythmic beat at your wrist or your neck is a result of the left ventricle creating pressure on the blood vessels. This is a simple but powerful way to get an idea of what's going on inside the heart. Now, we also use blood pressure as a way of monitoring heart function. Now, you have definitely heard, and our patients should have, or hopefully have heard, the numbers 120/80. The top number is the systolic pressure. That's how much pressure your blood is exerting when your heart is contracting. The bottom number is the diastolic pressure, the pressure when your heart is in the relaxation phase between beats. Together, pulse and blood pressure help us understand what's happening inside the body just by checking from the outside. It's a cool connection between internal anatomy and what we can measure externally. And before I wrap up, here's a question I'd like to leave you with for discussion. If my blood pressure is high, but I feel fine, should I be worried? Now, in your response, please feel free to bring up other things like other silent symptoms, long-term risks, and prevention. I'm looking forward to reading your responses, and thank you for watching.